Rise and flames, call my name. I freeze, I burn, I blame. I love, I hate the same. It's on my face, I cannot hide from the mistake my parents made. I'm never moving on. Not made from love, a remnant of a selfish motive. Was I needed? Do I need it to go wrong? Polarized in hair and pain, pumping through my veins. Eyes in flames, call my name. I freeze, I burn, I blame. I love, I hate the same. If I embrace the side of me, I only fuel the fire. But is it wrong for me to fight against the balance of my power? History in halves, one brain. I will break the chain. Oh no, どこには呼ぶ燃える裏目凍ると僕の愛と嫌いにいる Oh no どこには呼ぶ燃える裏目凍ると僕の愛と嫌いにいる I love, I hate the same.
Good morning, my little coffee beans. It's Friday. We survived another week. So let's kick the weekend off with a little pizzazz, a little bit of razzmatazz, right? So, um, so I guess the good news is that there's no like one real big story or anything of that nature, right? It's so oatmeal for brains. Yes, I got my oatmeal for brains shirt in. Yes, it's very comfortable. It's nice. The graphics Empress K did a great job. It's really nice. The shirt fits real good. I'm very pleased with how this turned out. I went with the gray this time. Normally I go with like a black t-shirt. But for some reason I just decided I wanted the gray one. And so anyway, it's really nice, and like I say, I like it. So if you are so inclined, you what happened to the thing? Come on now. There we go. You can get your merch. Just type in the explanation mark and then the word merch. Thank you, Paul Prince, right there. You can get them. There's coffee mugs. There's of course, the oatmeal for brains T-shirt. There's just regular with just my my logo, whatever merch as well. Um, depending on how sales go or whatever, I possibly could be going and reaching out to some other artists to make some stuff. Great compliments. The graphics nice. I think I honestly I can't. I know Max has ordered the black one on the black T-shirt. I think it's going to show up really well there as well. But I think that anyway, I think you'll like it. Um, like I say, I've got them priced. $20 is the bottom price for the shirt, and then whatever shipping, handling, taxes. That thing, of course, depending on where you live, taxes and shipping, I guess, could be a little bit more. The store does do international shipping, so like if you are in, like for example, I know Mitch down in um, Australia has ordered and received stuff. So, so I know they go to Canada or to Canada. I know they go to Australia, and I'm pretty certain they go to Canada as well. But like if you're in the UK, I don't know if they deliver over there or not. I would think they do. I think they deliver to the UK. But anyway, like I say, everything that I've gotten from there has just been real good quality. No complaints from me, like I say. And I order one of every beforehand just to make sure that you guys aren't anyway going to get some bad stuff. So anyway, oh me, sorry, my eyes itching me this morning. Like I said, there was no really big drama that takes you to a Pornhub account. That's because you probably need to clean out your cookies, JFA. Everyone knows you're a deviant. Don't be trying to let me into your stuff. Uh anyway, good morning, everybody. Let's see who we got in this. Let's see who we got in chat this morning. So we got Squatchin, Shanri, Abby, Rachel, Racheloni, Pepperoni, Beth Ann, of course, Purple, Pickleton, Zachario. Hey, some of y'all's names, man. I think you do this just to try to twist me up, and it's you guys don't have to try that hard. I have a anyway. Miles, JFA, Jardinosaur, Tippy Savage, and hmm, where's Knit? Knit's not in there this morning. Come on, Knit. You gotta do better than that. You can't miss a show. But anyway, there was no like big drama that busted loose or whatever, or at least there's none that I care anything about talking about. Um, well, listen, Zach, I'm horrible with names, and some way you guys spell, sometimes the way you spell things, it's just, it's Jar Dinosaur. Yeah, Jar Dinosaur. There we go. See? I mean, I don't get on Max when he doesn't say my name right. He goes, because he says it's like, how does he say it? Reverter. It's not Reverter. It's Riverter. It's Riverter. And that's a long story on that anyway. So, Banana, yes, Banana released a song. I think we went over that yesterday, Abby. But definitely check out Banana's channel. He's still doing things, I guess. But anyway, so let's get into what I do have this morning. So a priest, a rabbi, and and a pastor walk into a bar, and they wound up with lumps on top of their heads. And that's probably the most accurate telling of that joke I've ever seen. Tommy C and Matt Pitt were on the Drunken Peasants. Yeah, I know they were. I haven't watched it yet. I was busy trying to get ready for Dave's show last night. I'll try to catch it. If it's just going more over that what they were doing yesterday on Tommy's stream as far as talking about the whole thing with Repzion and Rabbi Jane and all that. I really don't care to get into that. That's not a story that is interesting to me at all. They just need to find a way to not interact with each other. Is my recommendation. But they just keep interacting with each other. So anyway, but didn't show up for you. Yeah, it showed up just fine for me. Purple. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So that's what happens when they walk into a bar. They wind up with a knot on their head. Yeah, 100%. So this next one here. This next one, I don't have words for it. Just.
You okay?
No, I'm not.
He not giving you your baby?
No. And she's more attached to me than him. And I'll tell you this. I have not once fucking cheated. I do not talk to the neighbors. I barely know you.
He's jealous. He's sprung on you. Is your pussy good?
No. I haven't fucked him in months. Because I'm tired of this shit saying I'm cheating. I'm gone for good.
Yeah.
See you in court over Bella.
Well, that's how you always are. You don't give a fuck about your kid. You give a fuck about dick.
Yo, I can't. Looking at this prime specimen. Let me just back this up here a second. I can't believe she's walking away from that. I mean, damn. He's got the wife beater on. He's got the $2.50 special sunglasses from the local gas station. I mean, he's got the receding hairline from hell. I mean, what is not to love about this guy? Oh, Lord. It's just, I don't know. Ladies, I mean, you wouldn't walk away from that, would you? I mean, come on. Is this Florida or Ohio? I think that's probably Ohio, man. That's probably an Ohio man. That's definitely an Ohio man. Yeah. Boy, anyway. So this next one kind of cracked me up. So this kid's out on his little, what do you call it? It's not a skateboard, but it's like a little, what are those things called? It's like a skateboard, but it's got the little, handlebars that come up on top, whatever those things are. I don't know what it's called. Anyway. This bird is giving him hell.
Hey!
I mean, that bird is just absolutely terrorizing this poor kid. Look at him. I mean, it's just. Now, in my youth, I had a few run-ins with birds like this that were very, I think that's like a magpie. And I mean, the dude's straight up, no lie, that bird, let's see if I can get a little bit better shot of it there. Yeah, right there. You can see the beak. So the bird's got a pretty good little, beak on it. So I have an idea it probably would give a pretty good peck. It'd probably hurt, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if he'd draw blood or not. Yeah. Blue Jays, yeah. Blue Jays. I tell you another one that's really bad about it too, right? Is mockingjay. What's it called? Mockingjays. We have them here in Arkansas, and if you get around their nest, like when they're on the nest, holy crap! Another one that is really really bad about this kind of crap is they're they're banny, little banny chickens. They're little small chickens, and the banny roosters. They're a smaller chicken, or smaller breed of chicken, right? And they are very very aggressive. When I was just a boy, and I was probably um, hmm, let me think here for a second, because my middle brother is like 4 years younger than me, so I would have probably been uh, 8 or 9, somewhere in there, because he had been like 4 or 5. My dad had gotten a bunch of bannies, chickens and stuff. Someone had just given to him, right? And we had this 12-acre farm. We had all kinds of livestock. We had cows and pigs and chickens and rabbits and different kinds of chickens. We had just regular chickens, and then we had like these. My dad got these bannies, and because times are tough, and so anything we could get that we could use to take provide food for us, whatever we and the bannies were good little laying. The eggs were smaller, smaller eggs. So you'd have to take like two of their little eggs to make one regular size egg. Like you would fix to like a boiled egg or fried egg or whatever you were doing, scrambled eggs, that type of stuff. So it's like a 2-to-1 ratio, but they were still good eggs, what have you. But anyway, there's this a part of that lot of chickens that was given to us. There was this banny rooster. Now, this little son gun was rough. He was very aggressive. Like when me and my younger brother would go out in the yard to play and what have you, this little pecker would come up and would try to spur you, right? And for those of you who don't know, on a male chicken, the roosters, they have these little spurs, these little toenail-looking things that come off of the side of their legs, right? And they use them for defense, right? They use them to fight with and stuff. And anyway, this thing would spur you, right? And sometimes it would draw blood, right? And so one day, this thing really got after my younger brother, and for whatever reason, I don't know, he just took a disliking to my brother. He drew blood on my brother. It spurred my brother on his leg, and the spur, of course, it drew blood. And that just ticked my mom. Now, my mom had been after my dad for some time to do something about that rooster. But my dad, being a typical man of that, that time or era, was like, yeah, ain't nothing wrong. You guys are just, you're just making it up, whatever. And so my mom had enough. And so she went in there and she loaded up my dad's 16-gauge shotgun and went out there and tried to shoot this chicken, this banny rooster. Now, all she wound up doing was knocking some feathers off of it and hurting her shoulder, because my mom's not a big woman. She's a very, very petite woman. And that 16 gauge shotgun had a little bit of a kick to it, And anyway, it hurt her shoulder, put a bruise on her shoulder. And when my dad got in from work that evening, she gave him what for? I mean, she lit into him, because now she's got a hurt shoulder. Son's got a bleeding leg. It was not a good afternoon or evening for my dad. And so my dad went out there and, of course, took care of the chicken, and that was the end of that. But anyway, so it was just yeah. So these birds and stuff, they can be nasty little peckerwoods, and straight up no joke on that. I see DeadOnDave joined us. Good morning, Dave. Okay, Zadie, I see she said she's going to get some rest. Zadie, go get you some rest, hon. And you and your kitty cats go climb and make you a little bed and get you some good rest. I know you're tired. You've been up all night. So this next little story, this thing here I'm not going to lie, this next one here kind of has me a little bit jealous. I got to have the audio turned down a little bit because it's got some music. I think maybe wind up getting. You rehomed the bird. I hope. Yeah, we rehomed that peckerwood JFA. We rehomed that son of a gun right into the damn cooking pot and made dumplings out of his carcass. Is what we did. Shit, it did not go waste on that farm. Everything we had, if it wasn't laying eggs, it got made into chicken and dumplings. Period. Yeah, don't know me. Don't know. You don't know. So check this out. I thought this was kind of cool. Let me get this music down just a little bit more because I'm afraid it is going to get me. But look at this car, y'all. It flies. It's basically like one of them drones, right? How cool would that be? I mean, you just fly. You don't have to worry about traffic jams. You don't have to worry about nothing. You just get into your little flying car and just straight to work. Hopefully it has enough battery life. That's the only thing, right? But of course, my big fat butt couldn't fit into darn things. I'd exceed the probably weight limit and couldn't use it. But the Jetsons are real. Exactly. Poor nuggets. There were no poor nuggets. That scrawny old thing, you couldn't make chicken nuggets out of it. We had to make chicken and dumplings out of it. Some way you could eat the thing. It was scrawny, tough old bugger. Now I'm not a big sports fan, guys. I think I've made that, but I did find this guy's athleticism very, very interesting. So keep your eye on the catcher here, guys. So see, I don't know if you guys caught that or not, but when the ball comes in, right, what it does is it hits the batter's bat, right? You see, it pops up now. That's technically a foul ball, right? Even though the pitch got away from the pitcher, right? So now, because it's a live ball, he's able to come back in and catch it, and that's it. Game over. It's that simple. Or not game over, but third out or whatever. Into the season, into that inning. So I thought that was kind of cool, especially have his heads up to make that kind of play, right? So you cat owners, I think this next one is probably something that you guys could relate to. And poor Zolly went off to bed. She's gonna miss this one. But the story behind this is that this guy that just opened that door, right? And he just moved into this apartment complex. That ain't his cat. That's a neighbor's cat, right? And so every time he opens the door to go outside or anything like that, this cat's waiting to come in there, right? I assume what happened is either this cat used to live in here and the person that moved away wherever they were moving to couldn't have cats, so they gave it to a neighbor, or it is just a neighbor's cat and it spent a lot of time in the person's that used to live there, a lot of time with him and stuff. And so the cat is just used to coming into that room. Irrespective, a cat is going to make it about them, right? So they're just going to do whatever a cat wants to do. Oh, mercy sakes. Yes, kitty cats. All right. So I saw this tweet this morning, and then, of course, Purple sent it to me as well. So this... I guess you'd say CEO Sansan says he's a rap hip hop artist and CEO of My Own Destiny. Says anyway, I guess he makes rap music or whatever. Anyway, he says, bruh, I went to this gas station to buy some gummy bears, and when I was leaving, I noticed this woman kept looking at me. So I said, "Hey, how you doing?" 5 seconds go by. Now we're just staring at each other, and I mumble in my breath like, "Oh, so this woman ain't going to speak, huh?" She had a lot of nerve to be staring me down like that. Well, anyways, I continued to stare back at her until I started walking out the door, and guess what? It was a mother freaking cardboard of a police officer. It doesn't look like it looks lifelike, doesn't it? It really, truly, it looks real, right? So, but if you look here at the feet, you can see there's the cross block thing there that to hold it up, whatever. But that is a very realistic cutout. I guess that's in there to make people have second thoughts about maybe doing something of a criminal nature. I don't know. Uh, uh, anyway, so that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny, right? I don't know. So last night, I guess Chris Nark did, like, I don't know how long the stream was. It was a long one. And he was going over this document that evidently that dropped. And this document was like 380 something pages. I think I've seen something like that. And at one point I did tune in and try to watch some of it after Dave's stream. But I felt like I just couldn't. I couldn't get dialed in. I just couldn't. I felt like I came in the middle of a movie. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, you've missed all the background story and all this. And I'll be quite honest with you. I'm not for sure what all. It's something to do with this whole Daft Pina, which is they just say no and Daft Pina and that whole conglomerated mess and whatever, right? And so I think Chris said that he made it through like 100 and something of the pages before he quit, right? Yeah, so he made like maybe like a third of the way through, because there's like 300 something pages to this Google Doc about everything, and it's just that's insane. But anyway, this is a segment of his stream last night where I guess people were donating, and I guess he got him a new donation alert, and so he gets tickled by his own donation alert.
Oh God, not again!
Oh my God.
For real, no cap, bacon, egg and cheese with a little bit of salt and pepper, no ketchup on God, for real, no cap, hashtag Edwin to the ranch.
Everyone's just going hashtag Edwin to the ranch.
On God, for real,
I'm
no cap,
cringing.
bacon, egg and cheese with a little bit of salt and pepper, no ketchup on God, for real, no cap, hashtag Edwin to the ranch.
Just hearing.
Okay, I miss what is this? What is this hashtag Edwin to the ranch? What? I know they're referencing Edwin generation, homeboy Edwin. You know, Edwin's got receipts. I understand that, but I don't know what is this Edwin to the ranch. What is that? I mean, is that y'all? What am I missing here? I heard ketchup. Is this about? I hope not, Squatching. I hope not. Because I was sitting there talking to my buddy last night about that whole ketchup thing. And as a citizen of Canada, he swears up and down that putting ketchup on a steak is not a thing. And that whoever is saying that is not truly Canadian. Oh, when parents send pets. Oh. Isn't there a gay ranch song? I don't know. Honestly, I'd kind of the Catboy Ranch. I'm gonna tell you something. I had kind of hoped that we had moved past this whole thing. I was like really, really over the whole story, the whole mess, the whole everything, right? Because there was nothing, absolutely positively nothing good that has come from this whole situation. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Heathens live everywhere, even in Canada. Yeah, I guess so. So, guys, this next story, I'm going to warn you. It is a bit much for a morning time story, but this is a story about a woman, a hamster named Mr. Nibbles, and drug abuse. So, if graphic stories are bothersome to you, and if they are really bothersome to you of a morning, I understand. You can exit stage right. You won't hurt my feelings. Okay. But this story was so cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. When I first read this story, I thought this has to be a story coming out of Florida, right? This has to be a Florida woman story. But alas, it is not. This is straight from the UK, the United Kingdom, Great Britain. So, I have to tell the story because it's time that we look at something and realize that we here in the United States do not own the corner and do not corner the market on crazy for Cocoa Puffs. These wackadoodle people can be amongst you no matter where you're at. Be you in the UK, be you in Canada, it doesn't matter. Crazy has no limitations. There are no walls, there are no fences, there's nothing. Crazy is everywhere. Right? And as Abba says,
This is a sickness!
Exactly.
Of the highest order.
Of the highest order. Exactly. It is a sickness of the highest order. So anyway, let's get into the story. Here we go. This is coming from the New York Post. A woman was sentenced. Stop. Here we go. Woman sentenced for killing eating pet hamster abhorrent. A woman who claims she was addicted to drugs has been sentenced to 12 months in jail for cutting up and eating her pet hamster and sick videos shared on social media. Because that's what you do, right? So when you commit a crime, the first thing you want to do is record said crime and then post said video upon social media, because that's what a smart person does. A UK judge handed down the jail term this week to Emma Parker, 39, describing the acts as abhorrent. Footage posted on Facebook in May of 2022 shows Parker killing her daughter's pet named Mr. Nibbles, as laughter is heard in the background. The two videos seen on social media show the defendant with a hamster and a hamster ball. Prosecutor Gordon Holt told the court in Lincolnshire, England, according to media reports. The defendant is holding the ball with a knife in the other hand, he continued. She takes the knife and plunges it through the opening in the ball, moving the knife from side to side. Now look at that prime specimen. I mean, it's quite clear that drugs were probably a big fixture in this one's life. So hopefully the 12-month stint in jail will help her remove that from her life. A spectator is heard laughing and says, "You are a sick bastard, you are," Holt claimed. The Englishwoman admitted she killed and ate Mr. Nibbles, pleading guilty to one charge of causing unnecessary suffering to a protected animal. She had reportedly told police she was helping the hamster to die after it had been bitten by one of her dogs. She was just trying to help end the suffrage of this poor hamster. The eating of it was that's just coincidental, guys. That's whatever, right? Anyway, Judge James House admonished Parker for cutting the hamster in half while it was still alive before eating the two halves of the dissected hamster. He said it was abhorrent that violence has been inflicted on a defenseless animal. According to the Mirror, a veterinarian testified she watched the footage and had not heard a hamster squeal like Mr. Nibbles did during the 27-year career. I'm sorry, y'all. They just keep using this poor hamster's name, Mr. Nibbles. I'm not laughing at the fact that this poor animal, this family pet, was brutally killed in such a manner, right? And here's the thing, and this is where my head goes, right? Because I don't know why they don't talk about her cooking the pet. So did this drug-riddled nut job, did she just eat it all, tartar? I mean, you know what I'm saying? This is like a scene right out of that movie, The Stand. Remember that scene, right? Where the dude is sitting in the prison, and Randall Flagg comes in, and he's sitting there, and the dude he'd caught a rat and was living off the rat because he was, encased or locked in prison, and no one could get him out. Everyone else was dead, right? Anyway. So, yeah. Anyway, the story goes on to say that the woman said she was under the influence of a drug dealer. I guess there was a drug dealer that was controlling her actions and behaviors. It wasn't her that was ingesting the drugs, right? This person was holding him down. She did refuse to identify the people who were filming the footage and stuff. She refused to do that because she said they were not nice people. Well, one could argue, Miss Parker, that you were not a nice person either. Says since her arrest, Parker says her home has been vandalized and dog feces has been smeared in her mailbox. She also complained of sustaining burns to her body in a recent car crash. And I'm supposed to care that people are smearing dog shit on your mailbox or defacing your property? Sorry, I feel for you. I'm feeling, but I can't quite reach you. After the verdict, the RSPCA inspector, Andy Bostock, told the BBC, "We share the public's revulsion at this horrific incident, and we'd like to thank the police for their support in the investigation." He continued, "It has been upsetting and disturbing for everyone who has been involved in this case." So there you go. There you go. Here's the thing. Different parts of the world have different, like I know I have a friend of mine who I believe it's Venezuela. Is that where he's from? It's from one of from the like middle South America, right? One of the delicacies that they have down there, and they raise them for this purpose, for food, is guinea pigs, right? So they raise and they butcher guinea pigs and they eat them, and it is a delicacy to them, right? It's akin to us country folk, I guess, as you would say it. Going and do squirrel hunting and shooting and killing squirrels and eating them, right? Squirrel good. I was raised on squirrel. You get some good young squirrel, fry them up tender, have them for breakfast. It's good stuff. Have I ever told you guys a story about it was like maybe the first or second weekend after I got married, how I took my wife back to over one weekend to my mom and dad's, and so I don't think I've ever told this story, so I'm gonna share this story with you. So the wife and I had been married maybe a week or two, right? We hadn't been married very long, newlywed couples and stuff, right? And we decided that we were going to go over to my mom and dad's for the weekend because, well, we didn't have a lot of money. It was tight, and our we were living off of hamburgers. Literally, we were living off of hamburgers. We would buy like the biggest package of hamburger meat we could get, and it was not the good hamburger meat either. It was really cheap hamburger meat, and we would take it and break it down into hamburger patties, and we would fry 4 hamburger patties a night. We'd each have a hamburger patty and a little thing of chips, and then we'd have a hamburger patty the next day for our lunch. That I'd get packed up with me for me to take with me for lunch the next day, because I was whatever. And oh, did you get your shirt in today too, Max? Cool. Yeah, I think it turned out real good. I'm real pleased with this. It's really good quality. It's really nice. But anyway, so we wanted to break from the hamburgers. We'd had enough hamburgers. So we went, so I let my mom know, hey, we're coming in. So we went over, whatever, and we got there on a Friday evening, and we're sitting around, what have you. And so my dad asked the wife, he says, hey, do you like squirrel meat? And, my wife trying to be, trying to fit into the family and stuff. This is all new and whatever, right? And she says, yeah. And she'd ate squirrel meat and stuff in the past. I mean, so it wasn't something that was foreign to her or anything, right? And my dad's like, well, he had just had a messy young squirrel given to him. And so he says, I'll fry us up some squirrel for breakfast, and we'll have some squirrel and biscuits and gravy, which is something that, my family liked to eat and stuff. And so anyway, I get up the next morning, whatever, and my dad's in the kitchen and, piddling around cooking, whatever, and mom's in there and what have you. And so I get in there and try to help, fix up, get things ready for breakfast, whatever. And so we sit down for breakfast, and we're sitting there and we're eating, and, it's good tender squirrel. It was fried up good, and had homemade biscuits and gravy and everything and eggs, and it was all real good and everything. And I looked down at my dad's plate. Now, my dad had this thing about, there's no way to put this. He loved squirrel brains to eat with his eggs. And what he would do was he would fry the heads of the squirrels up and crack them open and get the brains out. And he'd mix it in with his eggs. And it's just as disgusting as it sounds. And it was never anything that I cared about. And so he starts working on these squirrel heads to get, and I'm sitting there and I just look at him. And my wife gets this horrified look on her face. And I just see the color literally leaving her face. I mean, she's just turned ashen white. And I was like, I look at my dad and I said, what are you doing? And he's like, what do you mean? As he's gnawing, trying to, because, on a squirrel head, he's literally gnawing on a squirrel head. I'm like, what are you doing? He said, I'm getting the squirrel brains. I said, are you trying to cause a divorce for me? He goes, what? And he looks up because he's my dad, okay? My dad was oblivious to other people. All right? That's just the way he was. He lived in his own little world. And so he looks up and he's like, what? And, and he's got this squirrel head in his hands. And I'm like, dude, you can't. I said, no, Dad, no. He's like, what? And I had to get up and let my wife. She had to leave the table, right? I told my dad, I said, listen, I said, it's your house, I know how, whatever, but all I'm saying is could you maybe have eased into the crazy a little bit? Did we have to go from like 0 to like orbit level of crazy? I said, you're sitting there cracking in skulls of a squirrel at the breakfast table. The first time you sat down across from my brand new bride, I said, come on. And he's like, what? They don't. I said, no, Dad, her family doesn't eat squirrel brain and eggs. So my dad's like, well, what's their problem? I said, they don't have a problem, okay? Oh, golly. Now, lucky for me, my wife, bless her heart, was able, she kind of composed herself, came back and finished eating breakfast. I don't think she ate any squirrel that morning. I think that put her off a squirrel for the morning. So anyway, my dad is something. He was something. We lost him. We lost him back in 2000 and oh Lord, how many years ago has it been now? Let me stop and think a second. Was it 2002, 2001? Yeah. So, but no, my dad was a good man, right? But my dad was from a different generation. He was raised a different way. He had different beliefs. He had different ideologies. I didn't agree with the vast majority of his beliefs and ideologies. He was a very opinionated man, shall we say, about certain things. And but he was still my father, and for that I do have respect for him because he did raise me. He did provide for me, my brothers, my mom. He provided for his family. He took care of his family. He didn't shirk his responsibilities, right? Just that he just had his way about doing things, and he was he was a product of his environment, and he did some good things and he did some bad things, and sometimes that's just the way it is, right? So I there are times where I do miss my father, and I miss the ability to have conversations with him and to ask his opinion about some things. I do miss that. But then there's other parts of things that my father did that I don't miss one bit, not one iota. So did he ever work in the coal mines? No, he didn't work in the coal mines. Did he worship the volcano gods too? No, he didn't worship the volcano gods. He was just your run of the mill Southern Baptist, So, y'all worship volcano gods? No, I think Tommy C worships the volcano gods. So, anyway, So that's about it for this morning. I don't have any more stories, I don't think, to tell you or anything like that, or stories to share with you. Poor Mr. Nibbles, may he rest in peace. Hopefully he is in a better place, nibbling on carrots and enjoying life, right? My dad was from Arkansas, and I guess they were all raised like that. I had the same upbringing as you, I guess. Um, there's a cultural thing, right? Um, and different parts, and this is one of the great things, and this is one of the pieces of advices that I would always give. When I was working in K-12, uh, and I'd have young people, young little minds full of mush, would come up and they would talk to me and stuff about how would they get into IT and doing technology, and how would they do this, and what would whatever recommendations and things like that, what would I suggest to them. And what I would always tell them is this: it doesn't matter what profession you go into or what craft you choose to do for a living, a career or anything like that, right? That doesn't matter. Just choose something that you're going to be happy doing and that it's marketable, right? Just because you love reading books doesn't mean that you need to go out here and be, a old world French author specialist, because it's real hard to turn around and market that into a job to make money to provide for yourself, right? But here was the one key thing that I always tell young people, right? And this is what I would tell anybody in the chat. Listen to me. This is what I would tell you. Travel. Do not stay in the same town that you grew up in, around the same people that you spent your entire life around. Travel. If you, I understand you cannot necessarily go to different parts of the world, right? But travel to different parts of the country you live in, because in each different regions, you're going to meet different people, and they're going to have different ideologies, and they're going to have different cultural raisings and beliefs that they were raised with, right? If it does, there will be some key things that no matter where you go at in the United States, for example, there's going to be, there's some rooted elemental things that are the same no matter where you go, right? But you go into the different regions of the United States, and you get to meet new people, and you get to interact with people, right? Now, the internet has done a little bit to help this, right? But that's fake. The internet is fake. It's not real, because you don't know who you're talking to behind the keyboard, right? And it doesn't matter even if you turn on webcam, you talk, you really don't know the person. The only way you really truly know a person is when you sit down across the table from them and you break bread, and there's no cameras on and there's nothing like that. And so they're not putting on, hopefully they're not, they're not doing a shtick. They're not doing a character. They're not whatever, right? Doesn't mean that people can't be disingenuous. Doesn't mean that people can't be fake, but they're a lot less likely to do so if they're not having to put on a show because they think someone's recording them, right? That's what I mean by that. But one of the greatest things that I ever did was when I graduated from high school, I moved to different parts of the United States. I moved up north, and I got to meet different kinds of people, and I got to meet different and talking that had different mindsets that were not raised with the way that I was raised, and it really opened my eyes to start looking at and not being so judgmental, and not predetermining somebody just because they talked a little bit different, or they love somebody that was a little bit different type of love than what I was used to seeing, or that their skin colors were a little bit different than me, right? And I got my eyes really, really opened. Because like I've said numerous times, I had never sat down and talked with a person of color until I was like 18, 19 years of age. I just was not around anybody that had a different skin tone than me, right? And so to be able to sit down and talk to somebody like that comes from a whole different culture, and thank the Lord, this man was very patient with me and helped me understand, right? And he called me on my nonsense when it needed to be called upon, right? And put me in my place and helped me to see that, there's a different way of doing things, right? And I credit that man a lot with really helping me start my path down a different road, to where I was not the cookie cutter person that I had been raised around all my entire life, right? Um, that's so important. I'm not saying that people need to to walk away from their roots and their heritage. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, you you have to get to a position and place in your life to where you can look at it from other people's points of views. And that's where true understanding comes from. And that's where true empathy comes from, and understanding. And you have to get to that point in your lives, guys. I'm telling you, that's I think is truly the only hope that we have for this planet, is that people get out of their environments and the way they were raised, and thinking that that's the only way to do things, and start looking at other and meeting people from different walks of life, right? Because then two things should hopefully happen. They get exposed to that type of life and that type of mentality and upbringing, right? And so then they become a little bit more empathetic and sympathetic to that, and in the same time, you to them, right? And so then you come to a point of understanding each other, right? And then that's where real conversation can start happening, right? So anyway, so 100%, that's what I really recommend for young people when they're getting ready to graduate from high school, is to travel, to leave the area that they're in, and to go out, to branch out, to expand their horizons, right? And don't go out with this attitude of, oh, I know everything and I can't learn anything. That's the worst possible attitude to have. That was the attitude I had. And like I say, luckily enough, the gentleman was patient with me. And so David, I don't know, brother. I lost track with David many years ago, and I honestly, truly, I don't know if David is even still with us. He was an older gentleman. When I say older, I was like 18, 19 years old, and he was in his mid to late 30s, right? So that would put him about 10 plus years older than me. And and David was a smoker too. I mean, he was a heavy smoker. So that would put him in his 80s. And so I don't, or late 70s rather. But if he's still out there, I guarantee he's probably not watching YouTube, and he's not seeing me. But anyway, I do contribute to him opening my mind and changing my views and opinions on a lot of things. Yeah, exactly, Max. Take a trip, get outside your comfort zone, eat some squirrel brains, because squirrel brains really are the next level of enlightenment. I think it would help us really evolve into the next evolution of man. It's not autism like Bo Black says; it's the eating of squirrel brains. Yeah. So anyway, listen, I know that we're on track to do a show tonight with Dave. It's Black's Friday. We've already we talked briefly last night after the show. Bo Black's called in, on Nick had to cut out early. So we've got a tentative lineup of a show tonight, and I've got to get to working on that. But anyway, so that'll be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard is tentatively the time tonight when that'll occur. Zolly did a stream last night, but if you're not a channel member of her YouTube channel, you cannot access it because it's behind members only now. So just a thought, become a channel member and you can watch Zoddy's stream from last night. I haven't watched it yet. I will watch it here after a bit while I'm trudging through my day on this Friday. So I did get in. Did I reach the package here? Hang on a second. I did get something that's going to help us do the gaming streams a little bit better. Oh, here we go. I got a package in. I ordered a package. I got a package in, right? And so I got this in. And as you can see here, I got a capture card. So we can, I've got a PlayStation 4 and I've got my, what do you call it? Nintendo Switch, right? So I've got to get that set up and going. So I'm getting, I know you guys thought, oh, he's not going to game. I am going to game. I am going to game and stuff. I just had to get some more stuff in place. I did have a capture card. I had the Elgato, the card inside, right? The PCIe card. But when I moved it over to this box, it quit working. I don't know what happened. I cannot get this machine to recognize it. I've tried everything underneath the sun, and I couldn't get it to ever acknowledge it. So I've got to get this set up and configured and all that stuff. But so hopefully maybe this weekend, maybe we'll see. Maybe I'll be able to do some gaming streaming with you guys. We'll see. So anyway, that's it, guys. I know Max announced that he finally had got all of his commissions and stuff done, and now he's promising us some main channel content. I'm holding him to that. I am sitting here anxiously awaiting Sir. So hopefully we'll get that sooner than later. Trying to think. Yeah, go check out the Drunken Podcast. I think Tommy C and Matt Pitt were both on it last night. Let's see what else. I think Matt Pitt joined Zolly on her stream last night. But again, like I said, that's members only now. So if you want to see it, you got to be a channel member. You can get a channel membership for like $1.50, I think it is the bottom tier. I mean, it's not a whole lot. So anyway, what else is going on? I don't know. I think that's about it. But anyway, listen, guys, appreciate you tuning in this morning. It's Friday. We survived the week. I definitely, Sunday. We start hyping this now. So I had a guest lined up for Sunday. Because like I say, Bananas on a little break. So I had a guest lined up for Sunday, and something came up, and they're not going to be able to join me this Sunday. So we're going to reschedule. They are going to come and do a show. They're just not going to be able to do it this Sunday. So I went through my Rolodex, and I decided to have somebody on that I had been wanting to have on the show for quite a while anyway. So Sunday, everyone's favorite sidekick is going to be on the show Sunday. Doug. Everybody knows who Doug is, right? So Doug is going to be in the chair, second chair Sunday, on the Clear as Mud podcast. And I don't know what all we'll talk about, but I've got to get with Doug to get some things lined up. But I'm looking forward to that. I think Doug is a entertaining, interesting young man, and I'm looking forward to just having a conversation with Doug and maybe getting to know him just a little bit better. But anyway, so make sure you guys are, if you're not, make sure you're subbed with the notifications and everything on to hear, of course, as always, right? But also make sure you're subbed with notifications on and stuff over there for the clear as mud as well for when we go live. But we should be live at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Will be me and the one and only Doug. So until then, guys, I'll see you tonight. Dead on Dave. Tomorrow morning, don't forget, we'll be doing a show tomorrow morning too, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'm not for sure what we'll do, but we will do something. Because you just never know what's going to happen. You don't know what kind of craziness is going to break loose. But I look forward to see you then. Remember, keep your powder dry, and I will see you in the funny papers.